Welcome everyone to Beat the Game. My name's Steve, and let's talk about protection. All right, protection. What does it mean to me, and what is it all about? All right, so a lot of people chat in about the protection aspect as they don't like it because they think it's too slow. It's not aggressive enough. It's not what they like to see, all right, in protection. So they're not too sure how to play protection efficiently. So there's four main ways to play protection, and you can kind of scamper around between one and another fairly simply. The first one is the support, which is the most common. That's the easiest way to play protection is to play support. The other way, which is the way I really like to play, is control, where you actually just control what's going on and just play the cards to control whatever's happening in the encounter deck. And also you control the villain, so most of the times you're dictating what's happening during the whole game. So it's very, very easy. The other one is it's team protection. So basically what you want to do is you'll want to defend against every attack. You're going to try to keep your friends alive by just blocking for them as much as possible. And I forget what the last one is. Team protection, control, support. And I wrote it on my phone, and son of a gun, I forgot what the last one was. I'm just going to go back, and I'm going to look at my notes because I did write notes. And I feel dumb right now because I forgot. I forgot what I wrote down. And obviously this always happens when you're live. So let's just look at this. Passive aggressive. The easiest one. All right. And passive aggressive. All right. So there you go. I feel foolish. All right. And passive aggressive is basically you want to use the protection aspect to deal damage as well. All right. So there we go. So those are the four main aspects. Now, if you think of protection and where the heroes that you want to play protection with is mostly heroes like Spider-Man, who has a defense of 3, Spider-Woman, who can also have a defense of up to 6 if you're playing it right. Hulk, same thing, protection of 3. Black Widow when she has her suit, Cap when he has his shield, and Carol Danvers when she has Ariel with the cosmic flight and the helmet. So a couple of these characters need a little bit of prep work, but once they get to that 3 defense, you feel pretty confident that you can defend. And then you got the mid-range, where you got the 2 defense characters like Black Panther, and then you have Ant-Man, She-Hulk, Doctor Strange, and then you got the weakling characters, which is Iron Man, Hawkeye, and Ms. Marvel, who don't have a lot of defense. And using protection sometimes can be a little bit scary because I'm like, protection, I want to just defend for this or not. So, first things first, let's look at being the support player. Now, I always recommend if you're going to be the support player in a multiplayer game, in a 2-player, 3-player, or even a 4-player game, what you want to be doing is bringing all the support. So, that means you can stay in hero form as long as you can, and all you're gonna do is just help everyone else. So you're gonna try to get your main deck down as low as possible by playing a lot of cards on other people and keeping their characters alive and their allies alive while you staying in hero form and just tanking as much damage as possible. Now, some of the best characters to do this with is Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Hulk, Black Panther, who else is very, very good at tanking with a lot of damage? Thor. So these characters are really, really good in the support aspect. And the best part of playing them in the support aspect is you get to thin down your deck. Now, what are cards that I'm going to look for and when I'm playing a supportive role? Well, first thing, Night Nurse should be an auto-include if you're playing protection. She's so good. It's a 1-cost support, that you just put 3 med counters there. Somebody gets stunned, somebody gets confused. Remove a medical counter, get rid of that so that character can continue on their way and keep doing without having to waste a turn, exhausting or something. So Night Nurse for the support is also very, very good. Now the other one, which is obviously everyone knows, the med teams, where you can heal the allies, heal the characters. So that's a very supportive role as well. Another one, again, we're talking a lot about healing. So the second wind, keeping the other heroes in the game by that they're only gonna take the attacks, they're gonna take all the damage, and you can keep them in the fray by playing cards like Second Wind is gonna be very, very good. So that's gonna really help your support build by playing cards like this. All right. Now another card that is very, very good in the support role is Muster Courage. Now Muster Courage doesn't seem like much at first. It's a 3-cost event. It came in the Ant-Man pack that says you can only play it if you're the Avengers. So sorry, Ms. Marvel, you can't play that card. But it gives up to X friendly characters the tough status card, where X is depending on the stage number. Now, if you're playing a standard game, this is not going to be a card that you technically want to use because, you know, if you're on stage 1, you 3 for 1. It's not the best, but at least if you have the power of protection, you can have a discount. So, but if you're playing a expert game and you start on stage 2, well then 2 tough status cards for 3 cost becomes a little bit more interesting. And when you go to stage 3, it's 3 for 3. So that is basically just as good as Doctor Strange, the Rings of Ragador. So depending, and this is where you see what stage number is. So 2 and stage 3. All right, so that's how you know. And again, giving a tough status card on multiple characters can't go wrong. And you can give it to anyone. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, the Second Win is only healing identity cards. So yeah, you got to make sure that you can't really heal any allies with this. It's only an identity, so that's very important. Same thing for the Night Nurse. You can only heal a hero. You can't heal an ally. You have to heal a hero. So if you're an alter ego and you're stunned, unfortunately, you cannot get healed by this. Now, let's look at other cards that are going to be good in the support roles. And that one is Miss Clea. And you're probably like, why Miss Clea? Well, Miss Clea, basically, you pay for 2, you use your ability once, and then she's a blocker. So, okay, I can't take the hit. So she's an easy sacrifice for the support. So she gets 2, she shuffles back into your deck. Man, that's good. And then you can just keep replaying her as you can, as much as possible. Every time you draw her, you draw her again next turn. Bam, goes back, and then you're good. All right, the other cards that you're going to want to run in the support. So let's say you're playing a 3-player game. You want to be including the downtimes, the endurances. If nobody else, if people are, if you play these in your deck, that means they don't have to play them in theirs, which is going to reduce your deck size tremendously and very, very fast. So if you're in a 3-player game, so this is basically 6 cards that go away from your deck. So there you go. You just filtered your deck for 6 cards. Other good cards, honorable mentions, are the Honorary Avengers as well. That is a good neutral card to play to help out here. First aids. So if you're going to be the support guy, first aids, keeping the guys, again, using your first aids in your deck, that's going to be very good to keep everyone supported. And then invulnerability is one I like a lot, which gives your hero a tough status card. Again, if you're playing, I like to play this not only in protection, but I like to play this pretty much anyone. Anybody has like Iron Man that has a lot of resources, this is a card I kind of like to play. It can save your butt in a pinch. So yeah, it kind of gives the same effect, but this one has 3 instead of 1. So I prefer this than the basic one. But yeah, so both work really, really well. So other cards, other allies that are very good in support. We're talking about Lockjaw, because he can keep coming back over and over. You can thwart for 2 and then take an attack. Some of the other allies for support that I really like is Iron Fist, because he stuns a character again. But now we're going to be moving more towards a controlling aspect. But characters that are great for support. She-Hulk in Alter Ego, she can control threat, she can support, and then when You've played all her good support cards. And when I'm talking support cards, I'm also talking like armored vests on other people, even if they're not blocking. Getting those cards out, it's very, very, very efficient. All right? And then all the other cards that you can play in protection to really help you out. So defensive stances, electrostatic armors, energy barrier. But that kind of cross blends into different types, which that's why I'm not going to talk too much about them right now. So yeah, so other great characters that are great in support. Miss Marvel. I love Miss Marvel as a support character. I actually like her a lot in basics as well, but also in protection, she's very, very efficient because she can recur a lot of the good protection spells and events that are going to get cast. I love her. And plus, she also draws a lot, so having a lot of resource characters with a lot of resources are very good for support roles. Same thing for Iron Man. Who else do I really like? Doctor Strange is another great protection support character. Same for Hulk. Same thing. You can build Hulk to be a very good supportive character. So there's a lot of the heroes that can be that can have a very good support role. Black Panther being another one of them. All right, so that is it for support. All right, let's go for the next strategy. The next strategy, which is called control. Now, what do I mean by control? All right, so there's a lot of ways that you can control the encounter deck. You can control the villain. The protection build is very good for something called stun locking the villain. So stun locking the villain with characters like Iron Fist, with Mockingbird, with Tackles. These are some of the best control cards there are. Now this is more for the attack aspect. So you can stay in hero form. You can prevent one of his activations. So that means on the villain turns, especially in solo mode. In multiplayer, control is a little bit harder to pull off, but there's still some great aspects of control that you can include in a multiplayer game. So Iron Fist, Mockingbird, Tackles, these are all great cards, even in single or multiplayer. Very, very much more effective in solo play because stun locking a villain is going to make your game so easy. Because if you're only having to deal with one encounter card a turn, oh my gosh, you're laughing, okay? And then it's just about finding the right, unless you get the really bad ones, but whatever. Right? It's one card. So if you got all the cards you're playing and he's only activating once, you're going to be winning. Now, other ways to control the villain deck. Now, one of my favorite cards in a protection deck to control is the Get Behind Me's. So, especially with heroes like Spider-Man and Black Widow, where you want the villain to attack you, and it cancels the treachery that you're going to be showing. So, if you're like me and you get Shadows of the Past every freaking game, if you have Get Behind Me, instead of bringing in your Nemesis and a side scheme, you can just play Get Behind Me, take an attack, and cancel this. And what's is good about this is you can do it if anybody reveals a really bad treachery. So let's say there's an advance, and if you guys advance, it's going to the next level of the scheme, and that's going to just set you guys back so much. You're like, okay, whatever, guys. I'm going to take a hit for the team. We're going to cancel this treachery, and I'm just going to take the punch. Man, and then it helps you stabilize the game. So yeah, you took a hit, but then the bad stuff didn't happen. That sets you back. So that is one great aspect of control. Now, the best, if nobody's playing Black Widow in your play group and you're playing protection, you need to include a Black Widow ally. Because Black Widow ally says when a card is revealed from the encounter deck, so it could be a side scheme. So let's say that Legions of Hydra, the side scheme Legions of Hydra comes out, and you're like, oh man, I really don't want to deal with Madam Hydra and Legions of Hydra. If you have a mental resource, and there's ways to always guarantee that you have a mental resource, you exhaust Black Widow and say, no, I don't want you. I don't want the Legions of the Past side scheme. Get rid of it. Same for a minion. You don't like the minion that's going to be coming in front of you. You spend the mental and get rid of it. All right. So depending how bad what's coming, you can control this with Black Widow. Now, again, when we're talking about control, I think my favorite control character. Where is my favorite control character? There he is. Heimdall. Heimdall comes into play. So let's say this is the game. Heimdall, you play 5 for Heimdall. It might seem a little pricey, but is he worth his price in gold? Because then you can look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. So let's look at 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. So I look at the top 3 cards. So this is his boost card. This is my encounter card. And this is the next encounter card. Well, oh no, I'm going to draw a card. So this is going to be my boost and this is going to be my encounter card. Oh man, I don't want this. So what you do with Heimdall is you take a look at these 3. You take the worst of them, get rid of it. It goes in the discard pile, and then you can arrange however you want. All right, well, I'm going to be an alter ego, so this is not going to matter. It's just going to surge into something else. Or, you know what? I'd rather him take a boost of 2, and then my encounter time is only give the villain a tough status card, and I can't, and if not, I heal him 3 damage. Easy peasy. That's what's going to go on the top. Now, when you're playing in multiplayer, obviously, if you're playing 2 players, then you're just going to know what's coming up. As you're playing 3 players, you're just going to be able to see the next 2 cards. Again, you can still control the villain, but Heimdall's ability in multiplayer is severely reduced, but in solo play, it is phenomenal for a control aspect. And I love playing him with Hulk, because Hulk has the money to pay him. I love playing Heimdall with pretty much any character. You come in, and this can actually allow you to stay in alter ego. If you have Heimdall on turn 1, that is your turn 1. And then you see he's going to scheme for 0, and then a boost to 0, and then my encounter card is something easy. Done. And stay in alter ego, draw more cards the next turn. Super, super simple. So there's a lot of great things that you can do with the control cards. Now, again, a lot of other cards that can help with the control aspect. Here to help with those extra resources, well, the Quinn Carrier will help you make sure to guarantee you always have that mental resource available, because we know that in the protection aspect, most of the cards have lightning's resources. So this is very, very good. Now, who's a great control player? Well, Spider-Man is by far one of the best control players, same as Black Widow and Doctor Strange. These are the top 3 control players. Why? Because he's got his protective ward, enhanced spider sense, and she's got the Black Widow, what is it called? Grappling hooks. So cancel treachery, and these guys are even better than Spider-Man because these guys cancel the entire card. Spider-Man only cancels the one reveal. So these 3 are the best in the business for this. All right, and then everyone else can kind of do it the same way. Everyone else has great control, especially Spider-Woman. Anyone who has an ability that can stun, and I'm talking about any character that can stun and confuse the enemies, are some of the top picks for your control characters. Hawkeye with his arrows, She-Hulk with her the thing that punches there. I forget the. Oh, what's the name of that card? Superhuman strength. Spider-Woman with pheromones. Captain America with heroic strike. Ant-Man with his wrist regulators. I forget what it's called. The one cost that if you can play 2 resources in giant, you stun, and 2 physical in giant to stun, and 2 lightning in tiny to confuse. So these characters, you can basically, if you're lucky enough, you can have the villain do pretty much nothing the entire game. And then you have ultimate control over everything. So control is the other aspect. Again, other cards that synergize well. You have the enhanced mental. You can have the armored vest to help you out, to just reduce. All right. Now, the other one we're going to talk about, the other aspect of protection that is also a very efficient is team protection. All right? So team protection means that you're going to want to defend against most of the attacks on the board. You want to be able to ready and defend multiple times against multiple attacks in a loop. Now, some of the best characters to do this with, you would think Hulk would be one of them. He is not. The reason why Hulk is not good in this for team protection is because he discards his hand at the end of the turn, after his turn ends, so you can't save cards. Not only that, so you have to be lucky to pull the right cards at the right time. And since he has limited hand size and resources, it makes Hulk more challenging to play the team protection with Hulk. It's still doable. It's just not as efficient as, let's say, a Spider-Man or a Thor or a Black Panther or any other of the heroes that have increased hand size. One of my favorite team protections is got to be Iron Man now. After I did the Invincible Iron Man, where I took no damage during an entire scenario, and played that deck in a couple of multiplayer games, I'm liking, even though he has a defense of 1, because he has such a big hand size, I love using my ability to just control and protect for everyone. The other one that's really bad at this is Miss Marvel, because you want to recur her stuff as she goes. All right, so that's it. That's for the team protection, like the best and worst heroes. Captain America, one of the better ones to do that with. Who else is very, very good to protect against everyone else? Yeah, so Spider-Man is another one that's good for that. I love Spider-Woman. It's just a little bit more complicated because she has the 2 aspects. Black Widow is another one of those top contenders for that protection aspect. And same as Captain Marvel. Since you draw so many cards, she's very good on the team protection aspect. Same for Ant-Man. All right, so what are the cards we're going to be looking for when we want to do team protection? All right, so we're definitely going to be playing the Armored Vest to increase our defense. We're going to be wanting to run cards that come in with tough. So Luke Cage, War Machine, Clea is going to be another one that we're going to be wanting to put in here, because we don't need to defend only with ourselves. We can always defend with our allies, even though we're saying team protection. Iron Fist giving a stun is another great example, and Mockingbird, and then tackles. Stunning an enemy is the same as protecting him from an attack. So again, it's the same kind of synergy that you're doing for team protection. The other cards you're definitely going to be wanting to run is the Desperate Defenses. So you take no damage, you'll be able to ready, and to complement that, to make sure you have enough cards, you want to complement that with the Unflappable, because then you take no damage, and then you get to heal up a lot. And then you get to draw another card. There's another good ally for the I'm going to block for everyone. So once you have these, then you want to play cards like Muster Courage to give those allies more tough status cards, which means you can still every round defend for everyone and keep your allies alive to defend just for defense. And they're very, very efficient for that. Some of the great cards that we love to play with those are the Electrostatic Armor, because when the identity defends, you get to do some extra damage from that. Indomitable is another card you're definitely going to be wanting to run 3 of to be able to ready and defense, ready and block on all your friends. So again, if your allies can't do it, you can do it a couple times. But I definitely recommend, the thing is, I see a lot of people play these and then just use them right away. If you don't need it, keep it on the table until you absolutely need it. You will notice that a lot of players they just spend their resources and then want to respend it again over and over. When you're playing team protection, use other cards. Put as many permanents on the table. That's perfect. Use the Armored Vest on other people. Bring in some of the support strategy as well. So when you are playing the team protector, because you put so many of your support cards that are going to be on the table, you can really reduce your deck size and then see all these desperate defenses like 2 or 3 in a turn. Use the counter punches. Use the expert defenses to take no damage. Keep you in the fight longer. So again, using a permanent strategy mixed with a few events here and there. Now, obviously, that is going to depend on the characters you are using. Because if you're using characters like Hawkeye or Hulk that have almost only events, it's going to be a little bit more tricky because you want to get rid of cards. Black Panther, same thing. He has a lot of events in his card. He has not too many things to build with. So, because he has all those Wakanda Forevers and all the resource cards. So if you really want to see these protection cards, you have to build with the characters that have a lot of permanence that's set up on the table. All right, that being said, so this is it for the team support build. So these are the cards you really want to be looking at, and always multiple of these cards to be able to combine this. And again, combine with support, and you're going to be pretty well off. So I like when I play protection to combine 2 or 3 of these strategies. The only one that doesn't really combine well is passive aggressive. Now, obviously, the passive aggressive characters, we're talking about Hulk, we're talking about Ant-Man, we're actually talking about She-Hulk. Anyone who has an attack of 3 or 4 that can be increase their attacks. Who's got the better? Yeah, there you go. And then Hawkeye. Now I'm going to bring in Captain America and Black Panther for this passive aggressive strategy because they have the retaliate. All right. So because all of these cards are here, let's look at what does that mean to be passive aggressive. All right, we're talking about cards like Counterpunch, which is a fantastic card here. For, let's say you have a Spider-Woman, you've played 2 or 3 different aspects, and then she becomes, you counterpunch, oh, there you go, and all of a sudden, you counterpunch for 4 or 5, it starts becoming really worth it. And now, these counterpunches can stack, so if you have 2 or 3 in your opening hand, or if you have 2 or 3 in your hand, you can play these back to back to back, even off one instance of blocking. So counter punches, fantastic. Playing the energy barriers, which are very good for Iron Man because they're tech, but also you prevent damage while dealing damage. Preemptive strike. Oh, now there's a couple. I just want to take a side note. She-Hulk counterpunch and superhuman strength. So if you have She-Hulk with a superhuman strength and you defend and play counterpunch, you are going to discard this. You're going to do, basically you're going to do 5 damage, and you are going to discard this and stun the villain. So that's just a little side note. Now, one thing to remember, if you have a guard in front of you, counterpunch does not work, because if you want to defend against the villain, you won't be able to counterpunch because it is an attack. But if the guard attacks you and you defend, and you can kill your guard by counterpunching, that works. Now, one thing, since we're talking about guards, the preemptive strike. Preemptive strike is not an attack. It is a defense card. So when a boost is face up and you has any pip icons, so let's say it's the under fire, or even this one has 2, so you can pay a resource and defeat and deal him 2 damage in his face instead of you taking the full brunt of his hit. So if he would have had an attack of 4, you would be like, nope, you have an attack of 2, and I'm going to punch you back in the face for 2. And if any of the damage goes through, you can use the energy barriers to do more damage. Now, this passive-aggressive strategy is very good with cards that complement this. Cards like Nova, and Nova gets complemented as well a lot with the enhanced reflexes, or also the Quinn Carrier, which I can't remember where I put it. There it is. Okay, so that you can always generate. So whenever the villain wants to attack you, or any enemy, so if you have 3 or 4 lightning resources, you can just pew pew pew. And let's say it's got a 2 health minion, or even if it's a big minion with 3 health or 4 health, once you do the interrupt, if he only has 2 health, if he has 3 attack, it doesn't matter. If you kill him before he initiates the attack, that his minion attack will not resolve, even if it's the boss. So let's say the villain wants to attack you, he has 1 health left or 2 health left, and you have Nova, and you defeat the villain before he activates, he flips to the next stage, he has lost his activation. That means he's attacked and lost it, which means you're going to go to the next stage and do whatever the next stage does. All right, so that's very important. That's one of the great things about protection, because you can actually kill the boss or defeat the boss during his turn, which is, for me, is fantabulous. I love doing that. Black Widow is fantastic. She really highlights that. But every other hero as well. Like I said, if you have a Captain America who's got the Retaliate and the electromagnetic armor, where is that electromagnetic armor? So now he's retaliating, you're blocking, you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can do like 10 damage just by blocking one attack, which is craziness. So very, very good. Protection has some really awesome powers for that. Now, some of the other good cards for passive aggressive is going to be Momentum Shift. So you'll be able to heal some damage and deal 2 damage. Now, one thing to remember, before you can play a card or to activate an ability, you must be able to resolve everything to the left side of the arrow before resolving anything on the right side. So let's say my Captain America has 10 health points out of 11. It says hero action attack, heal 2 damage. I have 10 out of 11. I'm not healing 2 damage. I cannot deal 2 damage to an enemy. Okay? So that is extremely important to know. Okay? And this bypasses guard. I think I mentioned it. I might have forgotten it. So yeah, because it's a defense, it bypasses the guards. All right. Another great strategy to find these events, Brother Voodoo. If you have a lot of events that you want to play, Brother Voodoo will help you find these events. Defensive stance. I always recommend running 1 in a deck, just because at any point you can just prevent 3 damage and activate. And those are the strategies in a nutshell for protection. So really exploring the powers of protection and really exploring how the different heroes can play protection is really, really fun. Combining the strategies between support and team protection, or support and control, or even putting a little bit of everything into your deck is always, always good, because that's why protection is so good. Because you can be in control of the villain and what he's doing. So you can go into the battle being like, I got this. All right? So that is it, guys, for protection. Don't forget, if you want to have a chance to win the Green Goblin playmat that we're going to be putting away, just put a little comment in the section. Tell me if you liked the video or not. And then you will be entered to win the Green Goblin playmat that I will be finding somebody on Tuesday and sending it for Christmas. So hopefully you can get that as a nice little Christmas gift. My gift to you, we have, like I said, we're doing very good on the channel. We have lots of subscribers, so it's going up. Last week we were at 300. Now we're at 330 something. So it keeps going up. So thank you very much, everyone that is giving your support, that is commenting on the videos, liking these videos. And that's it, guys. That is for me. This is the protection aspect. After that, we're going to do justice. And after that, we're going to do aggression. And we even might do the basics, you know. How do you play just with the basic cards? So this is it, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. This is Steve from Beat the Game. Share, like, and subscribe. And until next time, keep on playing Marvel Champions. Beat the game.